So, hello and good afternoon. I welcome you to today's hot topic webinar. It's Wednesday, it's the 8th of September, and today we want to talk about a very, very interesting topic. We want to talk about Tesla, NIO, XPEV. You probably have heard about these companies, electric vehicle companies, quite hot. Tesla just broke out to new highs. It's probably on its way to new all-time highs right now, as of now. And as long as volatility stays subdued in the overall market, let's see, probably from a seasonal perspective, some might argue that we are currently in a very, very tense environment, and that probably volatility will rather sooner than later pick up here due to some taper tantrum, which we will get to see from the Fed on its on her meeting on the 22nd, I think, of September here. So in around 2 weeks from now. But the thing is that it's not today about Tesla, NIO, and XPEV, or at least not active. We won't actively talk about these companies, but in fact, we want to passively talk about them and instead focus in one of the probably hottest sectors right now, lithium. You probably have heard about it. It's crucial to use lithium when it comes to ion batteries here in this context. So which is then crucial to electric vehicles. And this is what we want to focus on today, and where I want to give some insights. And not just that, I also want to make sure that you go out of this webinar not just learning something out of or from this hot sector right now, but also to get an idea on where to invest if you plan to somehow participate, and which companies here have their business model built around this, or at least focus in the, let's call it, periphery here on this topic on lithium then in this case. So that's it, what we want to have a look at then here. So and now let me just share my screen here, and let's take it from here. So from Tesla, NIO, and XPEV to lithium, and why this is a hot sector for traders and also investors. So this is also something to probably know, probably even more for investors, but that's something we wanna give some deeper thoughts on then in the upcoming minutes. Before we start, let's have a look here at the current rebranding which is taking place at Admiral Markets, respectively Admirals. So you probably have heard about it already, but still, let me give you some deeper thoughts on this and give you an idea on what's taking place here right now, what's happening. So Admiral Markets is in this industry now, FX and CFD industry, offering right now, as of now, over 8,000 financial instruments, and is known for being a leader here in this area. And now they decided to take a rebranding, respectively, to make another step forward. That's probably a right way to put it. So offering financial services on top of their already very, very competitive FX and CFD offering. For example, offering a credit card here in this context. And so for further information, check out admiralmarkets.com here and get not just an overview over the financial services, but also the regulation. So right now, for example, they also added another regulatory body here to their brand, or under which they are regulated. So it's not just CSIC, FCA, or ASIC, so European, UK, or Australian regulatory, but also Jordan right now. So another regulatory body. Further information like also here on the website. Over here in Germany, global brand. So they also have an office here in Germany. Here in Germany, we refer to Admirals as the DAX expert, in fact, so probably with the most competitive offering when it comes to DAX trading, especially for day traders, scalpers. So definitely worth a deeper look. But also in addition to that, a very renowned broker when it comes to FX trading, physical stocks. So the invest solution for longer term engagement. This is probably also something which is of interest of today's topic. So make long thing short, admiralmarkets.com for further information here. And what we want to now do is, in fact, focus on today's agenda. And what I want to do is, you probably have seen that in the past already, and we want to focus again here on Tesla, give some thoughts on Tesla, and then we want to give a broader look on the EV sector right now, and it's especially here point to China. There was some news. Let me just check out here if I'm quick enough to find it on my other screen. I think from China today, and that's already pointing out why this is important. There were some news. Yes, that Tesla just hit a wholesale, MIC wholesale with 44,000 here in this context. Wholesale numbers, which hit a new record sales high here in China. So you probably can already see that there's a bridge we can easily build. That was just a release I received several minutes here on Twitter in this context. And yeah, so we want to have a look at the EV sector here in China and what role Tesla plays there, but also certainly give some thoughts, some deeper thoughts on NIO in this context, but also XPEV. And then the next step is we want to focus on today's topic here. We want to give some insights on what lithium has to do with this. And I'll give you some calculations here. In fact, I just want to make sure that you get a better overview probably on where we stand here in this sector, why this is of high interest, and why here from these first calculations, you can already draw some conclusions which companies could profit from this. And we will then, top out or find the climax or however you put this. And here I will give you some thoughts on my top 3 lithium stocks you can trade at Admirals. And so let's start. Let's jump right into the action here. Just have a look here at the Tesla chart. So I took this screenshot. I took the chart from TradingView in this case. So this is my charting platform I use, and then the brokerage is done via the Admirals in this context. And I think you have a quite good overview here in this context. What I was talking about in regards here to this breakout which happened just recently, and these are the highest levels I think since April. Was it April? Was it March? I'm not sure. No, well, March probably a little difficult because we saw this bigger drop here. But now, as you can see here, we are driving higher. And by the way, here in orange, you can see the pre-market indications in this context. So as of now, we already see some trading taking place, even though in 50 minutes Wall Street opens then, and we get the spot market trading in this context. So we see the breakout here on the upside, and you can already see what I was talking about when I said, well, probably we are about to see a push to new all-time highs, even though something to keep in mind, this looks like a quite solid breakout, and I wouldn't fade it, by the way. So I'm very positive for Tesla in general. So I sometimes receive questions in webinars, especially German webinars from people following me here, and getting questions being asked here. What is my outlook on Tesla, especially after now the news hit the wire around Michael Burry, for example. So you probably have heard about this guy in some context when it came to the great financial crisis, 2008. Michael Burry, that was the character who was played by, oh, I'm sorry, what's the name of this? So Christian Bale, that's his name, yeah, Christian Bale. So by the way, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them here right in the webinar, or in addition to that, if you watch now the recording on YouTube, please leave a comment in the chat box below if you have some thoughts, not just on Tesla, but also the EV sector, lithium in general. If you have topics you want to see discovered and also discussed in the future. If you if you enjoy what you just see, leave a thumb up here, subscribe to the YouTube channel, set a reminder for the upcoming webinars so you don't miss any of these which we produce here for you. Yeah, that's it. So so coming back to Tesla here and the breakout currently taking place. So people ask me about my outlook here, and especially after now it became clear that Michael Burry is betting against Tesla, not just against Tesla, but also against the ARK Innovation ETF, for example, from Katie Wood in this context, who has a major position in Tesla, in fact, and is obviously positively correlated here to the push higher in Tesla stock. The thing now is the question arises, okay, what's the reason for that? Why is he short? Because this is a strong company, obviously. As a growth stock, you usually don't want to fade the growth stock, especially not such a strong one. Even though, yeah, certainly there must be, if there's some, let's say, darker global macro fundamental picture. So what could happen here that Tesla sees a sharper break lower and probably break below this yellow trend line you can see here. Probably see another attempt to go for a stint as low as 500 USD for example, or in this case. And the reason is, and this is where we can here have a look at, I mean, what we can see in this context here in March, the reason for that sharper decline and the elevated volatility back then was a spike higher in yields. And this spike higher in yields could be driven by elevated inflation, from an elevated inflation outlook. And probably in addition to that, then the Fed now to be forced to taper, to reduce their asset purchases, or at least make this a topic, talk about this, which would naturally drive yields higher and thus would weigh on the overall outlook of growth companies in this context. So this is definitely something to keep in mind when looking at this breakout. And since we in 2 weeks have this crucial monetary policy decision from the Fed in this context, and I'm not really sure whether there will be a taper being announced. I'm very skeptical about this, but what's for itself is enough, would be enough. Personally, I think that is that they make it a topic to some extent. So we will taper probably in October, probably start in November. Then it's certainly about the amount they plan to taper to reduce the asset purchases. But however they communicate this, if they communicate it, it could result in a spike higher in yields, and it could drive the prices for growth stocks lower. So this is definitely something to keep in mind. Still, I'm not very confident that this break here higher won't rather sooner or later result in a push to new all-time highs, since there will be certainly some elevated volatility taking place then in equities in general and also in growth stocks, but the Fed will counter these bearish pushes lower in this case. And here, especially Tesla could profit from that, especially after the latest numbers and earnings release, which we got to see. So for Q2, for example, they released an EPS and earnings per share from $1.45 against 0.98 expected, and a revenue of 11.96 against 11.3 billion expected. So the initial result, as you can see here, wasn't that bullish, so we consolidated, but we also didn't break sharply lower. And then with the outlook of especially the delivery numbers, which we got to see here, which is the closest approximation to sales here, it was still very good numbers and solid, and in fact strong numbers if you look at the current developments in the semiconductor shortage context. And this is definitely something to keep in mind now with the big numbers from China from today, the new records here in wholesale. So all in all, the growth outlook stays intact in this case for Tesla. And I could imagine really well that there's probably a breakout around the corner if the overall environment stays friendly in terms of, especially from a monetary policy perspective from the Fed in this context. And I can't really see the Fed taper aggressively into the current environment, because I'm overall still very skeptical here for the overall recovery from the corona pandemic and the global macroeconomic downturn which we saw. So that's now bringing us here, since we don't want to talk exclusively about Tesla in this context, we want to have a look at the EV sector, and then we want to point also over to what's special about China. So first of all, it's very important to understand that the electric vehicle sector and its outlook here are crucial to understand when it comes to the overall outlook for the lithium sector. So this is very important to note. So you have to understand the EV sector and its role it plays in the lithium sector here to understand why the outlook for the lithium sector is so interesting in this context. And so what we have here is, first of all, we know that the global electric vehicle market was valued at around 162.34 billion in 2019 and is projected to reach 802.81 billion by 27, in fact. So these were the latest numbers I found, in fact, here for this presentation. It's as you can see, so to make long thing short in this context, you can see that it's fourfold in around the next 5 to 6 years. In fact, this is what is expected for the electric vehicle sector. And What's also very interesting in this context is that the Asia Pacific region here was the highest revenue contributor here, accounting for 84.84 billion in 2019, and is estimated here to reach 357.81. So in fact, it's also 4 to 5-fold. In fact, a little more than fourfold. And North America then is estimated to reach 194 billion by 27. So you can see this is a little more than half of what's expected for the Asia Pacific region. And so if we combine now Asia Pacific and Europe here, we see collectively they account for around 74.8% in 2009, with Asia Pacific here constituting around 52.3% share in this context when it comes to the overall outlook for the EV sector. And that being said, the Asia Pacific region, and especially China, will see increased demand for electric vehicles in the upcoming years. And not just that, but also for, naturally here, for lithium. But beside of that, what's special here, and in case of China, so in absolute terms, China remained the world's largest EV market with 2.3 million electric vehicles in active use. And that's nearly half, 45% of the global stock of EVs in this context. So Europe and the US are relatively far behind here with 1.2, respectively 1.1 million electric vehicles, respectively. And what we see is strong support from the Chinese government, which lifted taxes or has given a considerable amount of tax exemption on purchase of electric vehicles. So to make long thing short, in fact, what we can see here is that China will naturally demand lots of EVs in the upcoming years. So that's something we should expect. We know that Tesla is probably, given that, a main contributor here when it comes to deliveries from electric vehicles to China. But also, in addition to that, we know that given the overall support from the Chinese government, that NIO and XPEV will play a very, very important role here in this context. So the initiatives, let's give some further details on this. By the government here, they have attracted a lot of customers to purchase electric vehicles in China. And so as an example, in April 2020, the Chinese government has introduced a 10% service tax waiver for electric vehicles to boost the demand here of the market due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And that's an overall very, very, very positive environment for electric vehicles, where respectively, especially the producers of electric vehicles here, even for foreigners in the country, into China here, in China, foreigner like Tesla as a US company. And so as you can see here, this is why I pointed out this mentioning in those contexts of the current numbers, which we just saw released here from China some hours earlier today. So Tesla's electric vehicle sales in China of 6.66 billion USD, worth of 66 billion USD here in 2020, accounted for over 21% or 21% of the 31.4 billion USD in total. In comparison, in 19, then Tesla's Chinese sales reached only, put this in quotation marks, an overall number here of 2.98 billion USD, which was just 12% of the 24.58 billion total here in this context. So, but again, we are not talking exclusively here about China in this context, or exclusively about electric vehicles, and here in this context Tesla, but we want to talk about lithium in this context. And so this is a little unfortunate now. Let me just see if I can change this, because oh no, let's leave it that way. I mean, let me just see if here. Okay, that's a little unfortunate. 1 second. Let me just change that probably. So we can certainly keep this slide here that way, but I want to make sure that we understand that a little better in this context. So the next slide especially. So you can already start reading this if you watch this now. We will go through this step by step, but the next slide, I have to make sure that there's this animation here taking place, because else it's too much information, which is presented here at first glance, and this is something to probably avoid in this context. So perfect. Now, so first of all, what is lithium? So lithium is a chemical element. Probably have heard about it. Short Li in this context, and it's if you see this in its physical presence, let's say, it's a soft silvery white alkali metal. And under standard conditions, it's the lightest metal and the lightest solid element here. And like all alkali metals, if you're a little, if you have a deeper understanding of the chemical aspects here, so the thing is that if you look at these, that like all alkali metals, then in this context, lithium is highly reactive and flammable, and must be stored in a vacuum, so inert atmosphere or inert liquid, such as purified kerosene or mineral oil. So you can already see this is like it's very intense. So you really need to take care of it. Let's put it that way. And compared to natural or traditional batteries here, lithium-ion batteries, they charge faster, they last longer, and they have a higher power density for a longer service life with less weight. So you can already see, so lithium obviously is crucial when it comes to all, let's say, battery business, and in this context, obviously, electric vehicle businesses. And thus, we can sum this up and say lithium-ion batteries here are the heart of today's electric cars and trucks, and they are crucial to the overall long-term outlook here for the electric vehicle sector, which we already painted a very favorable picture for. And now what we want to do is we want to use some calculations to give you some better understanding of why lithium here is of such high interest in this context for the upcoming years probably. So by the way, let me just I have to here. First of all, I have to take some notes. That's it. So let's do or run some calculations and use here some words or a speech from Elon Musk here. 12 months earlier, so in around, that was in 2020, there was a speech from Elon Musk, the Tesla CEO here. And during the speech, he said that he thinks that the electric vehicle industry could produce around 30 million battery-powered electric vehicles by 2027. So he's all in all really echoing here what we presented a little earlier in terms of the electric vehicle demand, which we get to see worldwide. So it's not just focusing on China, but also he's focusing on the worldwide numbers here. And so now the question which comes to our mind is, we know that lithium ion batteries here are the heart of electric vehicles. So the question is, given what we just ran through, can we find enough lithium, or especially is there enough raw material here to meet these goals? And the answer in this is yes, there is enough lithium. We can fulfill the demand here. But the thing is that if you want to fulfill this demand here, the strong demand, which we'll see naturally for lithium from the electric vehicle sector, it won't come cheap, in fact. And so what, for example, Morgan Stanley ran was a calculation, and they said that when it comes to global production of lithium carbonate equivalent, so the short is LCE in this context, it totaled about 380,000 tons in 2019. And in this context, about 33% then was destined for lithium-ion batteries put into electric vehicles. So that being said, make long thing short, it takes about 5.3 tons of LCE, so lithium carbonate equivalent here, to make a ton of lithium metal. And now what we simply do is we look at what a typical EV battery here needs, in fact. So a typical electric vehicle battery a cell here, and a few grams of lithium in it, this is just one battery cell, but electric vehicle, the battery you use in an electric vehicle has about 5,000 battery cells. So long thing short, if you calculate now, make the next step, then you see that the electric vehicle sector and one EV here demands, in fact, around 10 kilograms of lithium in it. So a ton of lithium metal is enough to build about 90 electric vehicles. So this is the next step of our calculation. So that being said, 1 million EVs, we need 60,000 tons of LCE, or lithium carbonate equivalent, in this context. So if we now take Musk's statement from last year, it means that 30 million EVs he's talking about need 1.8 million tons of LCE, which is 5 times, as of now, 5 times the size of the total lithium mining industry in 2019. So there will be massive demand for lithium based on this simple calculation. So that's, in fact, it's only 2 slides, but this is already showing you why this is such a hot sector right now, going hand in hand with the developments around electric vehicles and the current demand which we currently see. And so that being said, brings us, in fact, straight away and directly to the top 3 lithium stocks here. You can trade at Admirals in this context, respectively, which are of interest in this context. And first of all, let me just here probably give you some. Let me just see. Yeah, so we have to go here. So this is, by the way, the stock I'm looking today. So this is UPATH. They delivered numbers, and it just broke to new all-time lows. Quite aggressive. Wow, that's a crazy move. Wow, 2 minutes and it's already making new all-time lows. So I was saying if we break below 57, then probably we will have some trouble for today. And as of now, nearly 1 million shares are traded. Let me just see the overall environment. It's not very friendly. So European markets are already under pressure. So given the overall environment, right, that as of now probably see some heavier selling. So if we now stabilize below 57 after, what's it? Yeah, it's nearly 5. It's 3:30 in German time, so 4 p.m. German time, 3 p.m. London. If we stabilize below 57, which looks as if this will happen, and below, in this case, volume weighted average price, then probably we'll see a deeper run, a nice intraday trend developing in UPATH. But we don't want to focus on UPATH, but we want to focus here on the tradable assets in this context at Admirals. And first of all, I want to show you, I give you some ideas on where to find these titles yourself. So we'll go through this and you will see hashtag LIT, for example. It's the Global X Lithium and Battery Tech ETF. But you wonder, where do I find this myself? So I get an overview. In this context, what I would say is you go here to the website, admirals.com, you click on products, and then you get an overview here of the contract specifications, respectively, all tradable stocks and assets in general. You can find at Admirals. And what you then do here is you just type in lithium, and there we go. You get these two, in fact. So hashtag lit and hashtag LACUS. And if we look at here at this Global X. So let me just Google this here that way. So what you can see here is the first overview on the contract specifications, on what is the tick size and so on and so forth. But what's probably more of interest is we want to have here a look at this number here and the fund summary in this context. So what you find here. So it's high growth potential, for example. So why the fund objectives are probably, that's probably a better way to put it. It seeks to provide an investment results that corresponds here general to the price and yield performance, obviously before fees and expenses, and so on and so forth. And what's even more interesting is probably the summary. That's probably giving you a better overview. So invest in the full lithium cycle, from mining and refining the metal through battery production. It's obviously focusing on high growth potential, advancing clean technology, so EV sector, obviously, and also an unconstrained here approach here with investing companies throughout the lithium cycle, including mining, what I already said, cutting across the traditional sector and geographic definitions. So long thing short, it's obviously a direct ETF focusing on companies who are working in this industry, and where you find already a good way to invest some of your funds. What's interesting about this is probably that's noteworthy. We are looking here at a CFD in this context. So we are not looking at the ETF itself, but we are looking at the CFD, where we know that if you are completely coming to an opposite conclusion here, saying, well, Jens, it's nice that you say this about the lithium sector and about Tesla, but I'm not really sure whether this will really see such strong demand given this and that and this and that reason. The interesting thing about the CFD in this context is that you can also play the short side easily. So it's not necessary here to have some let's call it relationship with the broker in terms of being a professional client, or some kind of professional financial institution like a hedge fund or something to short here the ETF. But in this context, what you can do is, in fact, you can here focus on the sector itself, on the ETF, which focuses on the sector and trades where consists of the companies which are active here in this sector, and then you can easily also short this ETF, which is probably interesting also from a trading perspective. So easily going long and short in this context. What you also have here, it's the Lithium Americas Corporation. So also probably I'll also go here through, let me just go that way. So here, this is a company which you can trade, and which is obviously focusing. The name itself speaks for itself. So you can see here, Lithium Americas. This is the website, and it's also obviously focusing here on lithium and how it here is working in Argentina. As you can see here, it's based in Nevada in the US in this context, and there you get further information. You can find the link here, by the way, in the description box of this video, so for further information on this company. So it's a stock you can invest in. That's also something worth noting. Let's come back here to the website, contract specifications, and then here, let's see. So in this case, you can see there's no hashtag in front of this. So this is the physical stock which invests here in this industry. And as you can see here, since the last month, in fact, so as of now, this is the 8th of September. So within 1 month, there's a performance here of 8 USD or over 50%. Let me just check here if I can find the stock itself, like Lithium Americas Corporation. Let me just see. So there we have some more. One day we have some more history here, and you can also see it's a strong growing sector. So there we have the chart. So as you can see here, so this is the sharp run higher, and we're solidly below the all-time highs, so which we find here, so solidly below the all-time highs, but with a very strong rise higher. So if really demand continues to rise for lithium here, you can naturally, let's say, expect, in fact, the company to probably pick up some further bullish momentum here in the upside. And you can also see here, by the way, so this is especially true here. And what we can also do is I can overlay the chart here with Tesla. You can see, you can clearly see that there's a positive correlation between these two, right? So you can see here the strong demand, and especially here the rise higher after the announcement was released or done that Tesla will be included here in the S&P 500, in addition to the election from Joe Biden and the Biden administration here really focusing on green energy, renewable energies, and strong demand here in this context, which naturally drives prices, stock prices then from a company which directly works in this field here, like Lithium Americas Corporation, sharply higher. You can see also that there was this sharp pull in here that was during March, and it's positively correlated. So if you have a positive outlook for Tesla, well, you also have a positive outlook here for the lithium stock in this case. Let's see if the demand continues to rise. But as you can see here, with this potential breakup, and as I already said, if we go up to new all-time highs, and if we get to see new all-time highs in Tesla, you naturally think that this will also be true here for Lithium Americas Corporation in this context. So also very, very hot sector. If you consider Tesla probably to be already a little elevated or not having such a great growth outlook anymore because there was lots of speculation already taking place. Given the fact that lithium is a hot sector right now, and there will be probably also strong demand from companies then from China and from its Chinese competitors like NIO or like XPEV in this context, well, you also expect then in this context Lithium Americas Corporation then probably to see some stronger demand in this context. And then we have a surprise here. So probably you've heard about the Panasonic Corporation. So what you probably wonder about is, where is this come from? So probably it's better to give some deeper thoughts on this. So Panasonic is in fact spending right now. There was a news release earlier. Is spending $100 million here to expand the Tesla Nevada battery capacity by 10%, or 3.5 gigawatt hours. And that's almost $30 million per gigawatt hour of battery making capacity. And using that number here, Tesla is the world's most valuable automaker. It would have to spend here 85 billion USD here to build 3 terawatt hours, which is the equivalent here to 30,000 gigawatt hours to hit its battery capacity goals, which were given out in the recent earnings release, respectively, by the numbers communicated from Elon Musk. So that being said, Panasonic here in this context is also a very, very interesting candidate and worth a deeper look. So in case of Japanese stocks, you will find out that it's very difficult here to find it. I think Panasonic, you can also type it in, but don't be surprised. You see here the number 6.6752.jp. So this is obviously a Japanese stock, and then the way how they quote the stocks, or how they show the stocks to the broader public in this context. So these are the top 3 lithium stocks. Probably the hottest stock in this, or lithium stocks / ETFs. That's probably a fair way to put it, better way to put it. So we have the ETF, which is also interesting for traders who say, well, I also want to participate in some kind of sharper pullbacks. And if I'm skeptical here in terms of the rise higher in Tesla, and probably there will be a pull in due to, again, taper tantrum and taper speculation, higher rates, inflation picking up, growth outlook probably diminishing in the near term, whatever. Then the hashtag lit is probably of interest here for you. In case of direct investment into the lithium sector, and the company here in this sector is Lithium Americas Corporation, and also to some extent here Panasonic, due to its strong business relationship with Tesla. And that brings us to today's summary for today's topic here. So first of all, the global electric vehicle market was valued, as we pointed out earlier, at 162.3 billion in 2019, and is projected to reach 802.81 billion USD by 27. So massive growth potential here. And Asia Pacific was the highest revenue contributor here, accounting for 84.84 billion in 2019, and is estimated to reach 357.81 billion by 2027. And that being said, so North America here is estimated to reach 194.2 billion by 27, which is a little more than half of what is expected here from the Asia Pacific region. And so these growth outlooks here point to strong demand for the lithium sector and lithium in general. So in this case, we know as of now that lithium-ion batteries are the heart of today's electric cars and trucks, and that the demand here for lithium will potentially be massive in the years to come. That's we ran the calculation, so there's potential strong demand here for lithium, which then brings us to the top 3 lithium stocks to look up at Admirals, which are here the Global X Lithium Battery Tech ETF, the LAC.US, so the Lithium Americas Corp corporation here, the stock, and then we have the Panasonic Corp. By the way, I just realized I just realized that I forgot here to update the upcoming webinar, which will follow in the next slide. So probably now is a perfect time here to take a screenshot here and go through this again. And let me just here look again up the next topic, which is trading the stock market with the MA50. And this event will be presented to you, that's on Friday, from my dear colleague, Paul. So it's very interesting for active traders, in fact, to give this presentation a deeper look. And by the way, let me just here get some bullet points. Obviously, he will introduce to you what is the 50 SMA, but also how to use it for stock trading. By the way, let me just think of, it's the 8th here. I'm sure, and it's not, so it's September. So perfect, now I'm prepared. There we go. So on Friday, it's, oh, by the way, join me again is wrong. It's Paul, join Paul Wallace. So in fact, I took a screenshot. This is a little, so I took a screenshot for give you the most recent Tesla chart earlier, and I forgot to update this slide here. So Paul will be here. He will talk about on Friday, the 8th of September, 2 p.m. London. He'll talk about trading the stock market with the 50 period moving average here. He will show you what's the 50 period moving average. He will show you how to use it for your stock trading. And then and this is probably of the highest interest here for you, he will show you how to build a simple stock trading plan based on the knowledge which was just presented to you then earlier. And again, 2 p.m. London, 8th of September. Check your inbox. If you already registered for the Trading Spotlight webinar series, check your inbox. You will get a direct notification here how to log into the webinar. If not, head over to admiralmarkets.com, and there the educations tab where you can register for all webinars which are presented to you here for free. So again, 8th of September, Friday, I'm sorry, not the 8th of September, the 10th of September. Today is the 8th of September, I'm sorry. The 10th of September, Friday. So 2 p.m. London, Paul will be here to talk to you about how to trade the stock market with the 50 period moving average. And here are the contact details for further information on Admiral Markets. As I pointed out at the beginning of the webinar, fully regulated broker. So please read carefully to know that there's a risk involved when actively trading the markets with leveraged products. And so that's it, in fact, from my end. I wish you all the best. Happy trading. Watch your stops. Again, if you watch this on YouTube, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, set a reminder, and don't miss any of the upcoming webinars anymore. And that's it from my end. So all the best. Happy trading. See you soon.